Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, and here I am with a new plane. I used some of the new plane parts and also the odd bit of new science equipment to build myself a brand new iteration of the science plane thing, which should be a great improvement from the previous plane, which was Science Plane 1. This is Science Plane 2. Very imaginative naming, if I do say so myself. Again, this is untested, so again, could be a horrible failure, but let's find out. I'll take the brakes off and we'll activate the SAS, engage the engine, throttle up, and it'll, because we had a, there we go, because the brakes were on for a second there was a bit of not moving, but now we are on and going, so let's see what happens. Haven't unlocked the better engines yet. Oh, we're off already. That's good, because I was worried we didn't have enough lift on this, because there's only like two wing parts and these two little things at the back as well. I was sort of worried that there wasn't just like enough wing surface to do anything decent. Oh look, there's Kerbin, that hated being. I went and checked up on him before. I think I recorded it but didn't put it in a video because it was rubbish. I went and checked on him and he's still very much dead, unfortunately, so no one can EVA between episodes unless I record constantly between the two. So we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to do the flight test where we take our plane over to that air base thing and see how it goes. I have to say, the handling is amazing. I mean, I do have SAS on, but let's try taking it off, see what happens. Very gentle dip down, very slight. So yeah, we do need to keep SAS on or constantly readjust our course, but you know, it's such a tiny problem that the SAS can easily deal with it, and we can happily fly along nice and fast and stuff. At the moment we're losing speed as we gain altitude, but it looks like it's evened out, and we're now... The whole thing is you want to try and get high enough that you increase speed without the force of going upwards reducing, or the amount of effort needed to go upwards reducing the amount of forwards motion you can achieve. So at the moment we're going at 170 meters per second, which I believe is about half the speed of sound, so that's pretty cool. We're going at Mach 0.5 here. I'm just going to turn us around a little bit more. It's got decent, what is it called? Yaw. It's got decent yaw to it. Usually you don't need yaw in planes, you just have roll and pitch, but it looks like it's good at turning sideways, which is nice. So I can just do this, because of the double tail plane thing I've got going on at the back. I always prefer to do this just because it gives you sort of more things you can do than if you just had the single one in the middle. So you can get more use out of it, and also we've got these things out at the bottom. It's quite a simple system really in terms of the wings. I usually have something a bit more complicated than this, using like lots of wing sections on top of each other. So we have like a rectangular one here, and then another one, and then a sloping one, and then another sloping one, and stuff like that. And you end up with huge wings that flop about all over the place unless you strut them nicely. But in this case, well, I didn't have the rectangular bit, so I just stuck on these big wing bits and then reinforced it a bit with some extra stuff at the front and the back, and turns out that it's worked quite well. I mean, the plane is quite light, so it's not that much of a problem. Who have we got in this? We've got Hendon Kerman. I don't believe we've had him before. And now let me have a look in the materials bay, see if we can gain any science for today. Oh, we can, okay. Flying at Kerbin, so we'll keep that, and we can take that home with us. And then we've also got all this scientific equipment going down here. We've got our thermometer, so we can log the temperature, flying over Kerbin's water. We log the pressure data, flying at Kerbin, and we can log the seismic data. That's a new one. Oh, we can't do a seismic scan apparently. I guess we need to be on the ground to do that or something like that. So I suppose we can do that once we've landed, and we'll get some nice signs from that. We've also got our goo pods here. Let's see if we can get anything from these. Of course, goo pods were the first science we got pretty much, so there's not much left to gain from goo at this point, but we'll try. There's a little bit left to gain from recovery, and that's what we're going to be doing today, because this is a plane and it's going to land, hopefully. Well, I mean, it's almost certainly going to land, because the last plane landed. It's just the slowing down that seems to be the main problem. So you can see this is fully equipped to do science on the fly. We've got solar panels fitted, some batteries in case it's nighttime, whatever. Of course, the engine will fuel the power supply and things like that. Of course, it's not tons, so you do want to supplement them with solar panels where you can. got some transmission dishes here, and in case anything happens to them for whatever reason, well, no. The transmission dishes are the main form of transmission, but what we also have, and let's start moving ourselves down now. Let's throttle back, actually. Oh wow, 200 meters per second. We were really motoring along. We'll get it down to half thrust, and that should be enough. So we've also got the emergency abort system. I have not bound it to the abort key because I could just stage to do it. You can see I've got a decoupler here. We've got some separatrons. So in an emergency, I can just press space, and the main pod will launch off, catapulted by the separatrons, and be completely separate from everything else. And then there's some parachutes so we can gently descend to the ground. And then I fitted it with 2 solar panels and some small transmission devices so that any signs that there may be on the pod can be transmitted as it falls or after it's landed or whatever. So that's all good. So we're coming into land now. We're a little bit steep. I wasn't paying much attention to where I was going, but if we just bring ourselves down, we need to turn a bit to the left, I think, just to get ourselves nicely lined up. We're still going at half of the speed of sound, nearly. So I think we'll actually cut the engine here and see where we go from there. And with any luck, this thing can glide enough to reach the runway from where we are now with all the speed that it has. We are coming on it at a bit of a wonky angle. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to arrive at it. In fact, we're sort of being pulled round to the left, it almost feels like, but we'll adjust that. It'll take a bit of adjustment because we're using yaw, and with yaw you don't really change your direction too much. Let's just do... There we go. Okay, so we're nicely lined up now, I think. We'll just do a little bit more tweaking, and yaw will be enough to deal with that, and then we'll just gently drift in. In fact, we might... Yeah, we're practically over the runway already, and we're still quite a way up, so, you know, we're definitely alright here. This is actually one of the best planes I've ever built, I think. It's doing a really good job. I'm actually quite surprised. I half expected explosion. A repeat of what's going on over there. Science Plane 1 debris, oh dear. That's not a nice thing for Hendon to see as he's trying to pilot this thing in, that the previous iteration of this plane crashed and exploded. But look at this, we're slowing right down, gently arriving. I put the handbrake on, which is a little bit crazy, but whatever. Oh, we're running out of runway. Quick, 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 quick. And dunk, and slow us down. Oh, oh. Oh, there it is. Oh, whoa, steady on, steady. Whoa, look at that. That, my friends, is a plane landing. That was beautiful. That's not the best landing I've ever done. I mean, I missed the runway a little bit, overran a bit, and we are sort of on the edge of what was about to become a very steep hill. That would not have been fun. I mean, this bit might have been fun, but this bit would not have been fun. That would have been a painful collision. Now, taking off would be a problem, but we don't need to take off because this thing is on a one-way trip. We will now do a crew report. Probably should have done that in the air. I forgot about that. We can just transmit that straight away, actually. What else is there to do? We can do the seismic scans now. Let me do this. Here we go. Seismic scan from Kerbin's water. Yeah, your biome edges are a bit ragged, I think. That's a bit of an uneven thing there. I don't think we're in Kerbin's water right now. It's weird that we can get seismic data from the sea. I suppose it makes sense on some level, maybe. I don't know about these things. We'll extend our ladder anyway, and then Hendon can hop out. I haven't tested this time. In the last, in Science Plane 1, I actually tested getting out and getting in again. I didn't bother doing it this time around, so we may just fall instead of transition. Oh, yeah, we're a bit... Oh, we're alright. Yep, there we go. And so we can just hop right down, let go, and we can just walk off. Ooh, we got a bit of lag here. 12 frames per second. What is going on? Seriously. Okay, well anyway, we'll do an EVA report, and that gets us absolutely nothing, so we'll reset that. Take a surface sample. A surface sample from Kerbin's water. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We'll not plant a flag. This isn't that much of a momentous occasion. Okay, and we will climb our way back up in slightly slow motion. It's a bit of a problem, this whole frame rate thing. There we go, hop back inside. Bit of a problem for me, actually, this whole 60 FPS YouTube thing that they're doing. I don't want that to happen. That devalues my frame rates. Now suddenly I'm a quarter of the frame rate of everyone else rather than half. This is no good. We'll retract this ladder. I mean, we don't really need to, honestly, but whatever, we'll let it happen. It is a nice animation. They put a lot of work into that. There it goes. Okay, so we've gathered a bunch of science and everything. So now what we will do is recover the vessel, get ourselves some science. So let's see what we get now. Damn loading screens. I mean to cut these out, but then I forget to not talk in them. Okay, 41 science giving us 185, and do you know what that means? It means we can buy another piece of tech. So let me scroll along here. And is it the last one? Oh no, it isn't actually. There's 2 remaining. So we have 160. We can buy either probe bits or landing bits. The landing bits are not vital at the moment because they're just bigger versions of things that we already have. Except that's a drogue parachute, which is something we don't have yet. That'll be useful for landing on places like Juno or something. But we're still not quite there yet because we've got some asteroids to deal with before we actually get to Juno. We'll probably set off before the asteroids arrive, but they'll arrive before we go to before we land there. So maybe we'll get those next. But for now, we will get the probe bits. And maybe I can try out that thing that I theorized about in a recent episode, where I have a lander that lands on. Well, it's like the Minmus hopper, but it sends back the data in tiny little capsules that have the minimum amount of fuel to get themselves and the science that they contain home. But I need to do a bit more research on that, make sure that science can be transferred into the pods properly, make sure it all can be. And then make sure that find a design that can get back home from Minmus and make it there safely and be able to deliver all the signs and everything. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for today's episode, and so I shall now say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.